Hey everybody, it's Kairos. Some really common advice for climbing in solo queue is to just mute all. That means you're likely relying heavily on pings to communicate with your team. But how can you use pings to get the necessary information across to your teammates without breaking their fragile mentals? I'm going to tackle that question today, so please comment below which of these tips was new or helpful, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. Also, a real quick shout out to my friend Bequipped. He's been posting great content about jungle clear speed, efficiency, and some other innovative stuff that might change the meta, or at least give you a few new fun picks to try out. So go check out his channel. For now, let's go talk about pings. My first tip is to be specific with your pings. So ping in a direction where your teammate can understand what you're trying to accomplish. So for example, if your top laner is getting ganked right here and you're in a position to counter gank, you want to let them know how you want to play the fight. So if you ping behind them, it tells them that they should just play safe, try to get to their turret, try to survive until you have time to get up and counter gank this. And so their goal, if you ping behind them, is to get to the safety of the turret. But if it's a champion like a Lissandra or a Vlad or something else that can stall out for a long time, you might want to ping on top of the champions, knowing which that communicates that you want to turn the fight. And so that your top laner should look to re-engage. They should look to take this fight. You're coming up and you'll be able to turn the fight. And so pinging either behind them or in front of them just tells them your intentions with the fight and what you're trying to do. The same principle applies to danger pings. So if your laner is here and then a gank is coming from the blast cone, you want to ping on their screen so that they can see it, but not right on top of them from the direction that it's coming from. So danger pings up here so that they know the danger is coming from river, from around this area. But if the threat is coming from a roaming mid laner or something like that, then you want to ping behind them so that they know that the threat is coming from this area. You want to ping on the screen so that they can see it without having to look at the map or without having to move their camera, but not right on top of them, because one, that's really annoying and it's going to tilt them, and also it doesn't give them any information. So use the location of your pings to give them information about where they might have an escape path, where they might have a threat coming in from, and just communicates a lot more information. And then also, to make your pings more specific, at the beginning of fights or skirmishes, you want to ping which target you want to focus down so that your teammate, you, everybody on your team can coordinate and make sure that you're bursting down the correct target instead of splitting focus. If you go for different targets, then it might turn out that you don't kill either of them, they escape. And so be sure to be specific with your pings of, if you're coming in, okay, we want to engage, that's the target that we want to go for, then everybody can be on the same page and make sure that you are actually bursting down the right targets in team fights. My second tip for using pings is less is more, which means using 2 or 3 pings and using them only when necessary. There's a lot of downsides for using pings too much. So for example, if this guy is getting ganked in the top side, you just want to do two pings up here to let him know that he is in danger. If you use pings too quickly, if you use 6 pings in quick succession, you actually get locked out and then get this notification that you must wait before issuing more pings, which lasts for 10 seconds. So if this jungler appears within the 10 seconds that you're timed out, you can't communicate anything to your mid laner, and you can't pass along any information for 10 whole seconds, which is a long time. Also, if this mid laner doesn't listen to 2 pings, then it's not likely that they're going to listen to 4 pings either, and so why waste the extra 2 pings and risk coming up on that that lockout? And then finally, the third reason to not overuse pings is that if you ping somebody too much, then they're most likely going to mute your pings, and then you won't be able to communicate at all with them. They won't hear any of the information that you're trying to get across, and it's just going to be a lot harder to coordinate with those players who do mute you. My next step for using pings is to only communicate necessary information. So some of the information that might be necessary in this situation is if bot lane is asking for a gank, and I don't have my ultimate cooldown, so I can ping that to let them know that I won't have that, and then also ping my health, ping my mana if I don't think that I'm going to be healthy enough to gank. That's good information, versus just pinging them off doesn't really tell them that you don't have enough health, or you don't have the cooldowns necessary to pull off a gank. It's also really important to ping the objective timers, so you can let everybody know when a Drake is spawning, or if a Baron is coming up, or Rift Herald, because those will dictate reset timers for your whole team. And so ping those about 2 or 3 times, maybe a minute and a half before they actually spawn, so that your team has a time to crash the wave, reset, and then be back on the map in time to contest it. Also, you can ping enemy death timers. If I had any enemies in here, I would show you, but that's another important consideration for late game team fights. Now I have some tips specific to the jungle. So usually when I'm doing my first clear, I'll ping out what I'm planning to do on the minimap. So I'll use anonymous pings to say, hey, I want to do a 3 buff or a 3 camp clear and then gank topside. So that kind of helps to just show your teammates what you're trying to do. If you're doing the opposite, it might be I'm doing, this blue-red Krugs into a gank bot lane. It just helps them to know what side of the map you're going to be on the first clear. And also you can ping question mark is what I usually use when just guessing at what camps the enemy jungler is on. So if I have a good reason to believe that he is on one of these 2 camps, I'll ping like that to just give my best bet. Or if they show on a ward, obviously you can just ping the champion and everybody will see that as well. Another tip is to ping out invades. Let everybody know that you're trying to invade, that you're trying to go steal camps. And if you want your laner to come with you, you can ping for that also. And so that just gives a little bit more information and might give them a bit of a heads up. I know that it's a common complaint that laners don't collapse, but this might help with that problem a little bit for you. For the 5th tip, make sure that you use the area is warded ping. So this is really helpful, but you do have to bind it. It's not set by default. So if I'm sweeping and I'm clearing wards around Rift Herald or something like that, and I see that there's a ward here, but I'm not able to clear it in time, we'll pretend this isn't here, then it's good for me to ward that so that if a teammate comes by, they can use their sweeper, they can use their control ward on the around the objective to make sure that we do have full vision control. So to bind that, you'll go to hotkeys, and then communication, and scroll down to area is warded ping, and right here is where you'll bind it. And I have it bound to my A key right under my QWER, but you can bind it to anything that's close and easy. The 6th and final tip that I have is actually around level 1 strats. So if you are trying to get your team to take an invade or to try and stack in a specific brush, the best way that I've found to do that is to use multiple pings. So to use on my way pings, wait a little bit, use anonymous pings, and then help pings. So those sounds will all sound like there are 3 different people, and usually your teammates won't check chat to see that they actually all came from the same person. And so that's a good way to make it seem like everybody's on board and everybody likes your plan, because they'll likely just go along with it. So do some anonymous pings, and then on my way, and then space out some help pings as well, and you're most likely going to get your entire team killed in a level 1. So have fun with that one. And that's going to bring us to the end of the video. So here are the summary points to wrap it all up and just to give you a quick reminder on everything that we covered in this video. I hope that you learned something new and will start using pings in a way that you didn't before. If you liked the video, I'd love for you to subscribe and to get more of my content on an ongoing basis. Also leave a like, drop a comment, and I will see you in the next video.